So I started to run through that data process, but realized very quickly we were not going to have time to get through the whole thing. But hopefully in this video we can go very quickly, start to finish in getting this data connected up, because we've done it now a few times. Hopefully we're used to it and I won't have to explain as much as I go through. So first step, again, we downloaded in this database. We made the connection string. This doesn't have to be the second step, but it is a step that needs to occur before this works. And so I've added in an entry here in our configuration file for the connection string to one called water connection, and then I've pointed it to this for the data source. All right, what's next? Well, I'm going to build a model next to hold the data as it's brought in from the database. And so I'm going to go into the data folder. I'm going to add a new class. And this is going to hold the information for one project. So I'm going to name it project, singular. So what does a project look like? What's the shape, I say, of the project? So what is the shape of a project? Well, if I go look at the database, it tells me. So if I'm pulling from a database that already exists, I need to make, so let me maybe do this. I need to make this data match exactly what's in the table, which fields are in the table. And so I need to have that same exact setup, same names, same types, same restrictions if there are any. And so I'm going to make this match. So I come in here, I say public class project, public, and our first one is an int, project ID, and then I say get set. Okay. And this is the key, so I'm going to go up above that and add in the key attribute so that we know that this is the primary key. Next field, public string project name. This one, if we look at any restrictions, this one has a not null next to it. Keys are not null by default, but this one says not null, which means that project name is required. When we create a new project, we have to give the project name. But the rest of them don't have the not nulls on there, so that means they're not required. So let's go in and just follow the pattern. So public string project type with its get set, public string project regional program with its get set. Okay, next one's project impact, which is an integer, so public int project impact. Some people have this philosophy that you shouldn't put the word project as your naming fields because you just end up typing it so much more over and over again as you're creating the database. But the problem is if you just name stuff name, type, ID, then you're going to get many fields, many tables that have that same name, type, ID. So it's nice to have it on there as you're actually writing queries to pull the data out if we actually include that project name, even though it feels pretty repetitive right here. So we have project impact. Next one is public string for the project phase, get set, and then we have public string project functionality status with its get set. All right, just do a quick verification. I'll save that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things over here. Do the names match? Does everything look right? Because if not, it's not going to work right. And I think we look good. So there's the model. So I'll save that. Excellent. So I've got that model set up. Now, what do I need? Well, I have to have a context file in order to be able to get this information out of this database. And so I'm going to go into the data folder. I'm going to add a new item. And the new item is going to be, in this case, a context file. And so you don't have to have context in the name, but man, it sure makes it nice when you're trying to find which one is the context file if it has it in the name. C# doesn't care, but Spencer cares. And so anyway, so I'll name this our water db context .cs file. I add that in and I inherit this from the general DB context. Now, it's not going to recognize it at first. And so I click in here, I say, what's going on? And one of the options actually is to install Microsoft Entity Framework Core, which is ultimately what we want to do. But I want to point out again, a real quick, easy way to do this is at the command line. We can go into NuGet to download it, but we can just run this command to add the package. So just to make sure that we're all on the same page, what I'm going to do is say .NET, and it does this little funny thing where it jumps windows. And so if I make this a little bigger or smaller, well, it's just being weird generally, huh? I can say .NET tool, to make sure we have the right tool installed, .NET tool install -- global. So we're installing this globally across all our projects, something called .NET EF, which allows us to type in this .NET EF migrations or .NET EF database or whatever. It's giving us that set of commands. So what I actually want to do is make sure to uninstall it. So I missed that. Uninstall whatever version you have in currently, which will uninstall it, and then we can say .NET tool install globally to make sure we're on the right version so we don't get these version issues that I've seen with some students. So I say .NET EF and then -- version space 8 asterisk. 8 asterisk will just give us the latest version of whatever is available. So I click on that, hit enter, it installs to 8.0.13. That's the most updated version of .NET 8, which is what we're using. And then I can go in at that point and add in these packages that I'm going to need to be able to set this thing up. So I know that in order to set up the DB context, I need to .NET add package Microsoft .entity framework core, and the version again is going to be 8 asterisk install. So that's going to install Entity Framework Core. I know I'm going to need SQLite, and so I can run that same command by pressing the up arrow and then just add on here on the end .SQLite. Enter. It installs those packages, and so packages are installed now. We don't need tools and we don't need design because we're not migrating and we're not scaffolding. We're just connected to the database manually. And so now that these packages are installed, when I click on the fix for this, it says, oh, do you want to import Microsoft Entity Framework Core, which has already been installed? And I say, well, yes, I do. And then it'll go in and build. I can start typing out here, and it will just give me the code for the default constructor. It's not liking something. What did I do? Method must have a return type. Hang on. This is a constructor, though. It doesn't have a return type. What did I do? Water DB context. Oh, I killed a brace. You probably didn't do that. There we go. So that's all set up. And then I say, what tables are in my database? Well, what table's in my database, if I go look at it, is a table called projects. So I'm going to make an entry here saying public DB set of type project, right? Project, this is one singular project. So the type I want is a project, and I'm going to put a set of them together and call it projects, plural. And so this is setting up my table name. Struggling with the braces today. This is setting up my table name that is going to be connected with this particular database. It knows where to go look. If I had another table, I would go put in another entry for the other table. Okay, last thing is we go to our Program.cs file and we add in this entry above our little build statement that we say builder dot services dot, we want to add, or sorry, use SQL. No, we don't want to. We want to add a DB context of type what? Well, the one I just created, so the water DB context. And it builds my little statement here for me, which is good because I'm running out of time. But instead of using SQL Server, I want to use SQLite, and then the name of the connection is the water connection. All right, we are going to check in the next video to see if this works. Spencer out.